guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lisa and I produce beauty related content here on YouTube. On Fridays, however, I have a series called Feel Good Fridays where I talk about health, fitness, diet, well-being. Another passion of mine aside from makeup is health and fitness. And so I started incorporating these videos about last month or so. So today's video, I wanted to share with you a scary situation that happened to me. I guess it's been about 7 years, so it's been a little while. But this experience was really scary and it really opened up my eyes and made me have a whole new perspective on like products that are marketed as diet products, so like sugar-free or products that contain aspartame and artificial sweeteners. It really educated me and made me more aware of what I put into my body when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I wanted to share it with you guys just as a precaution. I always talk, whenever I share these types of videos, I always want to mention that I am not a health provider, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a trainer, I'm not an expert, I have no certification or education on any of this stuff. So this is really me just sharing my experience. So I just like to say that because I feel like when you put out there on the internet, whether it's on a blog or a video about health related topics, you really have to be careful because, you know, the internet is filled with a lot of misinformation and I don't want to be responsible for giving any of that. So I just want you guys to know that this is my experience. About 7 years ago, I competed in one of those fitness competitions. So I did this really strenuous 12-week program where I worked out really hard. I was on a pretty strict diet, and the goal was obviously to get my body fat down really low, and I was judged on a panel of how my physique looked. So you can imagine, you know, the dieting that goes into that. So obviously sugar and sweets and alcohol is not part of the diet. So I had to cut all of that out for 3 months. If you know me, you know that I have a raging sweet tooth. Sweets are my weakness. I can pass up pizza and burgers and chips all day long, but if you put M&Ms or chocolate or cake or cupcakes or ice cream or any of that in front of me, I'm like, have no willpower. So it was really difficult for me to eliminate all of that. And so one thing that I started doing was I started adding Crystal Light, like the flavored packets, to my water to give me a little bit of a treat, so to say. That was like my sweetness. That was how I satisfied that sweet tooth. I also started chewing sugar-free gum when I was training because I think it was just, you know, having something in my mouth, chewing, and the sweetness of the gum was something that really kind of replaced my sweets for me. And so the closer that I got to my competition, the more restrictive my diet became. I started cutting out all my carbohydrates. So I was really, really restrictive and I was working out 3 hours a day. I mean, it was pretty extreme. So I would purchase these large water bottles from Whole Foods. They're like the 365 water bottles. I mean, they're like this big. And I would fill those with Crystal Light and I would drink that all day long. And this was about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before my competition. And I would probably drink 3 or 4 of those a day filled with Crystal Light. I mean, I was chewing a lot of gum, at least a pack to a pack and a half a day of gum is what I was getting to. And I remember this was about 9 days before my show. And I was getting frustrated because I was depleted. My diet was so, I mean, I was pretty much eating chicken breast and asparagus and egg whites. I mean, there was nothing in my diet that should have made me retain water, but I was not losing that extra few pounds that I needed to lose. And I felt bloated and I was just getting really frustrated. I was so close to my competition and I was nowhere that I needed to be. So I'll never forget this day. I remember it was a Wednesday and I had work planned for the day, and then at the end of work I was going to go run with some friends from work, do like a 3 or 4 mile run, and then I was going to go meet my trainer to work out. And I woke up that morning and I was like 5 or 6 pounds heavier than I was the day before. Like I went to bed and then I woke up and I was 5 or 6 pounds heavier. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like I'm working out so hard. I'm eating everything I should be. Why am I gaining weight? I didn't understand. I went to work and about midway through the day, I started to feel really bizarre. It started with my skin it almost felt like, I mean, it just felt like it was tingling and it almost felt like there were like bugs on me. It felt so weird. I mean, the best way I can describe it, and I don't really know because I've never been on drugs like this before, but I felt like I was on drugs or something. It was so bizarre. My body felt, my skin literally felt like there were things crawling on me. I started to feel really dizzy, almost like I was drunk or something. My head started to hurt later that night, but at work it was really just like my skin and my head started to feel a little weird. And I just felt really bizarre. And and I left work and I went to go meet my friends to run. And I remember starting to run maybe for like 3 or 4 minutes, and I couldn't even run, which was really odd for me because I'm a runner, and it was odd. Like, I could not run. I just felt like I was really intoxicated. And so I got in my car and I called my husband, and I was supposed to go meet my trainer. And I told my husband, I said, I just don't feel right. I mean, something is wrong. I don't know what it is. And I remember telling him, this sounds so bizarre, but I think it's related to the gum that I'm chewing, because every time I put a new piece of gum in my mouth, that feeling intensifies. And of course he thought that was crazy because that didn't make any sense. But I remember driving and having the thought of, you really should not be driving. Like, you are in no condition to drive right now. This is not safe. But I did, and I got to my trainer, and, you know, she of course is looking at my body and evaluating me for my competition. And so, you know, I take my top off and I'm wearing my sports bra and my, you know, pants, and she looks at me, and I had a really tough trainer. You know, she was really good at what she did, but she was tough. She told you like it was. And I remember her saying, what did you eat last night? It looks like you ate an entire piece of pizza. You know, you're so bloated. You look terrible. What's going on? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm eating everything you tell me to eat. You know, I'm drinking tons of water because obviously water is supposed to help reduce water retention. And so I said, I'm drinking tons of water. I'm having like 4 of those a day, and I add Crystal Light to it. And she's like, wait a minute. And she stops me right there. She's like, how much Crystal Light are you having? And I'm like, well, I have it in all these bottles. And then and she's like asked about the gum, and I told her, and she's like, I think that you have aspartame poisoning. And I was like, what? Like, I was like, what is that? And so I went home that night, and I contemplated going to the hospital. By the time I got home, it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was laying in bed, and the feeling was not alleviating at all. It was only getting worse. My head, I had so much pressure in my head. It just felt like there was someone on my head just like pushing it. I was terrified. I mean, I really, really considered going to the hospital. And my husband and I got online and we looked up aspartame poisoning and all the symptoms I was experiencing. And, you know, when I thought about how much aspartame I was consuming and all those Crystal Lights and all that gum, it totally made sense. And so, of course, I immediately cut that out. This was a Wednesday night, so I stopped with the gum, I stopped with the Crystal Light. The next day, I just started drinking water with lemon juice in it and just chugging water with lemon juice in it. And from Thursday to Sunday, you guys, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days, I had lost 9 pounds. I was carrying around 9 pounds of water weight this whole time. And I didn't even realize that the reason why is because of the aspartame, because it's a toxin and it was in my body, and my body's defense against this toxin was to surround it with fluids and hold on to that. And so I was, yeah, I mean, it was just a big, big eye-opener for me. And I talk about that in a video that I posted a couple years ago about my weight loss journey and all of that. And I'll link that video down below. It's a long video and it's a lot of rambling, but anyway, I kind of talk a little bit about this story in that video, and so I just wanted to elaborate a little more on it. So since that, it really opened up my eyes to how bad that stuff is for you. I mean, I'm not going to say I never have it, but I try and avoid it at all costs. Now I use stevia-based sweeteners. I don't use aspartame. I don't use Sweet and Low or Equal or any of that. I'd rather use, if I go to a restaurant and they don't have stevia as an option, I'll just use regular sugar. I'd rather have that than the aspartame. But you know, I do have a diet soda here and there, so I still have a little bit of that. Of course, it's all in moderation. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I think that if you are really working hard to meet a weight loss goal and you're not, or you have those few extra pounds and they're not seeming to come off, and you are consuming a lot of aspartame or artificial sweeteners in the foods that you're eating, I think that if you eliminate that, that can help a lot. And I just wanted to share that with you because I don't know that if everyone knows that. I mean, I think we all kind of have this general idea that aspartame is not good for you. But, you know, I don't know that we all know that that can actually make you retain water. It can also cause digestive issues. I'm going to share a link down below that I found when I was doing research with this video. But I just wanted to share that personal experience with you because it was pretty scary, you guys. I mean, it was really scary. And I realize most of us are not chewing 2 packs of gum a day and drinking, you know, 6 gallons of Crystal water or Crystal Light water. I realize that. And I know that people are going to say, well, it's all in moderation and you shouldn't have had that much. And absolutely, you're totally right. But I think that there's really no benefit to it except for the sweetness of it. It can also cause cravings. So I have a diet soda here and there. And I noticed that when I do, later that day, I want more sweets. So even though it doesn't have the calories that sugar has, it still has the same effect on the brain that sugar has. It still makes you want to continue to eat sweets. So you just have to be aware of that. You know, I'm not saying I cut it completely out, but be aware of it, you know. And if you are, like I said, if you are working towards a goal or weight loss goal and you just have this barrier that you can't overcome, maybe this is why. I don't know. Take a look at how much of this you're getting in your diet. So anyway, I just wanted to share this story. I hope this is helpful for you guys. If you've had any experience like this, share it down below. I think that it's important to share these things, you know. I don't know, I just think it's important to share these things because I think it helps other people. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys on Monday with a new video. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so before you leave. And I will see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.